Hello everybody, today I'm here to talk about the gunmetal update, which is basically TF2 and CSGO had some kind of weird love baby. I can't say I'm really complaining because for the part 2 of the update at least, it's a lot of stuff about maps and new weapon changes, which I'll get into later, but first of all, I just gotta show you that you have to pay $6, you get some contracts, which could be pretty cool, but I really don't like the fact that you have to pay for it, and you basically get a bunch of skins. Fantastic, you get factory new, field tested, and battle scarred. Oh wow, sounds familiar. And I know that CSGO and TF2 are made by the same company, but I mean, come on. Really? You've made so much money off of people with Australians and the different types of strangers already, you gotta go and add this to it now? And then they also here are showing up. It's not even TF2. It's not even slightly TF2 looking. What is this? It's not gonna fit into the game at all. It's gonna be like a sore thumb. Okay, these look kind of cool though. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not complaining too much. It'll be more stuff out in the market for people to play with, and that's never a bad thing. And also they have like a counter on the outside of the weapon, but this, it's just CS:GO. Look at that. That's how you check out your weapons in CS:GO. But I guess there's nothing really wrong with that, and some nice SFM work here. And if we go back up, we can move on to part 2 of the update, which is very, very juicy indeed. First of all, new maps, very nice. I played on Borneo already, wonderful map. Have not played on these, but we'll get to see them in server rotations now. And Snowplow is here. Woohoo! So Valve decided to go back on the word about it being too complicated for new players, and it's in the game. That's excellent to hear. Still kind of a shame that they had to go through like an entire another update just to add it. But also more Counter-Strike references. You get to pick up an opponent's weapon, which I am not complaining about. I would love to be playing, like with something dorky like the Beggar's Bazooka and decide, you know what, I don't like this. Go find any other soldier that died, take his rocket launcher, and be on my merry way. New taunts, which are, I mean, they're fine. Can't complain. I really do like this one though. It's very, very cheeky. And let's move down into the updates. Okay, so you can pick up stuff, and okay, so first of all, Spy is seems so stupidly strong now. A really nice fix they did though is that you don't smack yourself in the face when you're revolving. So when Spy reloads, he like brings it up to his face, blocks everything, and then pulls it back. And there are custom animations to fix this, but it's nice to know that it's just going to be a part of the game now. And disguise times have been changed if you're already disguised. And this is really big. You take 20% less damage from all sources while you're cloaked. Like, why did spies need this? They are already fine where they were, in my opinion. And also, reduced timers on debuffs. I understand, like, this is going off the spy's idea of being the stealthy guy, right? You're invisible and you sneak around, but you really don't have a reason to not be invisible now. Like, if you're disguised, sure, that's fine, but if you turn invisible, wow, you're basically invincible. And also, they decreased the damage penalty on sentries from this to that, so you're going to be wrecking with Spy. It's good for Spy players, I guess. Stabby's going to go on an absolute rampage. So the Spicicle, I like the change. I think what they mean here is you'll be set on fire after 1 second, but you won't take any afterburn, which is a really cool idea because they'll know where you are, but you won't be taking damage. But you'll probably die because they see you. But you're invincible while you're invisible, so who knows? Who knows? Remove Silent Killer, that's no biggie. Hopefully the statues are still there. And you can recharge Bicycle, which should have been in the game anyway. And they buffed the Enforcer again, so it's just gonna do massive amounts of damage no matter what. Big Earner, it's interesting. The Kunai, you're still really, really tiny, and you're gonna get a bonus still, but you already have so much health. I don't think it's much of a difference. Cloak and Dagger, you can pick up ammo, which is alright. And the Dead Ringer, okay, first of all, I don't know what they try to do with this thing. You lose 50% of your cloak, which is like, ouch, that hurts, right? But then you lose cloak slower over the 7 seconds, and when you get hit, you drain cloak slower. So I think overall you're going to be getting more cloak time, but the most annoying thing is you get a 3 second speed boost. Three Dead Ringer already made it very easy and very forgiving on spies to like get in, get a really dangerous and risky stab, and still manage to get out. But now you get a 3 second speed boost. Pyros are never gonna find you. This is ridiculous. And yeah, but at least you can't like pick up ammo. But usually, if you're playing aggressive spy, you're gonna be stabbing, getting out, uncloaking, and then going back in again. Okay, on to the engineer now. So, engineer has some pretty interesting changes. So, you build faster. Like there's a base increase in the build speed, and also teleporters and dispensers. When you pick them up and put them back down again, instead of having to wait for like a year for them to build up, they build 50% faster, which is pretty nice. And when you change wrenches, your buildings don't explode. But I don't find that being too much of a problem. And also, the sentries have decreased resistance and it takes more to repair them, which is kind of confusing because they seems like they're half nerf buffing the engineers when they're straight up buffing the spies. So it'll be interesting how that plays out. Maybe they're going to be going for like a more offensive engineer like play style, or they're just trying to make the games more fast paced. And for the mini sentries, oh my goodness, I don't know how to think. I don't know how to feel about this. So first of all, they removed what made a mini sentry. It's supposed to be you plop it down, you forget about it, and it does its thing. Now you can repair it, you can smack it to build faster. Its base build speed is decreased. Like, what is happening? And then the nice thing is, if you blow up a mini sentry, the engineer can't just walk over the corpse, get enough metal to plap another one down. But that's always a good change. The palms thing got changed a little bit. You like steal less cloak when people are farther away, less cloak and less Uber. I didn't see much people using this anyway, so that's just a nice change for the few evil people who do. So the Wrangler, the ammo and repair given to a sentry is reduced by the strength of the shield. So it's like you can't just turtle the shield all the time and be repairing it at max speed. So it's easier to take down the shield of things. And if you kill an engineer while he's wrangling it, it'll take much longer for the sentries to recover, which is alright, I guess. But I really like the changes with the Jag. Like they made it swing faster, which I thought it always should have done because it built faster. And they added a 20% repair penalty though. And with the 50% swing speed, it doesn't like add up, but it's okay. Like the idea with Jag, I usually play it as you build stuff up quickly because I don't like the turtle and it gets destroyed. It's like okay, you move on, you build it up again because no problem. Short circuit, you cannot spam this thing anymore, unfortunately, and you can't pick up buildings, which I don't know. Eureka effect is they changed it, but I mean, at least you can pick up buildings now. That's pretty big, but it's still I don't know. It's still inferior to the other wrenches in my opinion. But I could be proven wrong. All right, so the scout got some interesting changes that I'm not too happy about. So the baby faces blaster. The original change to it, it was a buff, but I did not like it because it was supposed to make Scout sacrifice one of his mobility options, which is jumping, for massive speed. Because when it first came out, if you jumped, you just lost all your boosts. And now it's a lot stronger, but when you jump, you only lose some of your boost. But now they made it so you lose boost when you take damage, and you also lose more boost every time you jump. So I don't know why they felt the need to add this into it, but I mean, it is what it is. And the shortstop, I didn't even know it used secondary ammo to be honest, so this is cool. And the healing and knockback passes are only active when the weapon is deployed. I don't think that's that big of a deal because if you're gonna go run over health packs anyway, you can just switch it out real quick, pick it up, and get out of there. And Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol. I feel like that entire set with the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol and the Babyface Blaster, they lost their identity. Like this, I love to use it because usually if you're a scout, you shouldn't be getting touched by pyros anyway because you have the speed and range advantage on them. So the plus 15 health was really just plus 15 health. But now you don't get that. You get plus 3 health per hit, which is really odd, and you like they're just doing the plus 20% damage from all sources thing, like the power jack and the weird cozy camper thing. I'm not a fan of what they did with Scout here. And Fan of War, I guess it's like a much worse Bushwalker. Like when you hit someone, they get marked, so they take mini crits, and when you hit them, instead of just dealing no damage, you deal crit damage. And since the damage penalty is now 75%, maybe you can kill something. Who knows? Moving on to soldiers here, I really like what they've done. For the airstrike, they removed the clip penalty, so you get 4 rockets, which isn't that big of a deal, but they reduced the radius the radius penalty and the damage penalty, so it'll actually do damage as you're raining hell on people. And they've changed the rocket jump reduction, but it doesn't really matter because usually whenever I use this weapon, I use gunboats anyway because you can fire off most of the rockets you get before you hit the ground. But this might be pretty significant to people who like to use the full set. And the equalizer and escape plan, they didn't change much. Like it's you basically still get no healing. You get 90% less while medic can still heal you. I guess this is just mainly for new players, so they don't have a bunch of confused medics trying to heal escape plan or equalizer soldiers. The black box change, I did not see this one coming because I think the black box had been a pretty solid weapon, but now they made it to you can gain plus 20 health if you do the max amount of damage, and you only get plus 10 health if you do the least amount of damage. So I don't know how this will work because I'm guessing it won't promote the spam style gameplay if you want to get the health back, because you probably only get 10 if you're spamming people across the map for 40 damage a hit. And if someone's up in your face, every hit will get you 20 health back and it'll make you much more survivable, which is I think where they're going with this. The Liberty Launcher has an extra rocket, so it's the old cow mangler. Nah, but I really the Liberty Launcher has always been weird for me because it was the rocket launcher I used non-stop when I first played TF2 because I could not use the old rocket launcher. But after switching back, it felt like I was using a snail launcher. And then they nerfed it to have 25% less damage penalty, so I just could not play with this thing anymore. But with the extra clip size, it might be worth trying out. Like, I don't know if it'll make up for the damage penalty because it's pretty massive, but it could be fun. And plus, if you were with gunboats, you take like no rocket jump damage anyway. And for the battalion's backup, it's just a small bug fix. The demoman also got some pretty interesting changes. They nerfed the tide turner into the ground. It just decreased all the resistances you have from like falling and other stuff, and you also lose charge more quickly when you're taking damage. And the bootlegger and wee booties got a really interesting bonus. You get a 10% move speed bonus. So if you equip this with the Scotsman Skull Cutter, you will just be a hard hitting demo man. It's pretty cool. And they changed the thing on how you recharge your meter to only be from melee kills, which makes sense if you're going to be playing pure demo knight. The Cladamam, which is I don't know how to pronounce that thing, but it's like the same still. Lock and load has been absolutely destroyed though. It's awful. I don't understand why they would do this. They didn't change the fact that the things like they don't roll, so the pills still explode on contact. But when you hit someone, it does the same amount as the regular grenade launcher. It just does extra damage to buildings. And if you're aiming to destroy buildings, you'd have a sticky bomb launcher. So this is obsolete. You don't need this at all. You might take down buildings a bit faster, maybe if like there's somehow a scout constantly pistoling your stickies away, but this is irrelevant now. And it's like, come on, why the lock and load, I think it was at an okay place when it was just the two shots, which is logical. It only has two barrels, but I don't know. It'll probably be buffed, hopefully, in the future, because I was a really big fan of using it. The Iron Bomber has been buffed a little bit, not too much though. The Quickie Bomb Launcher now changes depending on how far the thing is fired, so like if you charge it farther, it'll do more damage. I don't know if this decreases the base damage, but I don't see how it could really work because the stickies die after a couple seconds anyway. It's meant for like just spamming it and shooting the people in front of you. And the Ullapool Caber has been made less stupid, thankfully. Pyro got some not too significant changes, mainly to the weird flare gun secondaries. The flare gun just got an extra text on it, but the scorch shot, it's it might be usable now because its damage penalty has been reduced a lot, and you get increased knockback on burning players, which could be fun. And you also deal mini crits to burning players. So I mean, and also considering the detonator nerf in damage, you might as well just be using the scorch shot. But of course, you still have the detonator jump, which did buff because you can jump higher with it now. But you take more damage. So I don't know, if you're gonna be using a flare gun, the default flare gun would still be the way to go, I think. Okay, so the medic got a pretty interesting fix to one of his more obscure weapons. So they fixed a couple of bugs for the vaccinator, but they also changed this so that you could bubble multiple players at a time when you have Uber, so they get the weird resistance, which is really cool, I think, to see a bunch of bubbled people running at your heavy with bullet resistance. That'd be pretty funny, but I don't think this is gonna like drive anybody to start using this weapon all of a sudden. They also gave it some more penalties on Uber charging rate to overhealed players. And for the Solemn Bow, they were, not they. Ray 7 was right. They did nerf it. So good job on sticking to the regular bone saw, buddy. Alright, Sniper also got some pretty interesting changes in my opinion. I like what they did with the Cindy Sleeper, how like even if you just take a quick shot at someone, they'll be covered in piss, which is really good for the item because like you had to sit there and wait like a dork to charge it up before you could get the pee on people. And the Bizarre Bargain, now you don't lose heads on a miss, which is nice, but you take much longer to get back up to the base charge rate, which is what the old Bizarre Bargain was like. Except now you have to actually kill the guy with the headshot, which is pretty interesting. But you don't lose heads anymore, so you can get it all the way up to 200% charge rate. So all you people who like to sit back there and pick off fat heavies, this is the gun for you, I think, maybe. Bushwaka also got changed a bit. I don't know if this is a nerf or a buff. Instead of just the universal fire vulnerability, you just get 20% damage vulnerability while active. Everything is becoming a power jack. Fantastic. The Heavy got some pretty awesome updates for his miniguns, seeing that the Natasha and the Brass Beast, you get damage penalty, you get damage resistance while you're spun up, which is definitely awesome considering the Natasha is heavily underused. And it is a pretty good weapon. And also, you do more damage to sentries now, which is also mentioned in the engineer part. And the Tomislav, I'm so happy about this update because even though I don't play heavy often, I used to play Tomislav because it was just so easy to spin it up. You could jump around the corner, be spun up, and ready to shoot before you hit the ground. So now the spin time is cut in half. I mean, not cut in half. It's increased 2 times from 10% to 20%, which is really awesome. And it's also 20% more accurate, which I guess makes sense because it's like shooting slower out of a thin barrel, which I don't know how good that will be because you're gonna be shooting people up close anyway. Family business. Oh God, excuse me. Family business shoots 15% faster, which I still rather use a default shotgun or a sandwich. And the warrior spirit, you get health on hit, which is it's not that good. Eviction, you get a speed boost on hit, which is gonna be really fun to use, and especially on like times 10 servers when you fly around at the speed of a scout and shoot fast as lightning. And also the locust bar, you can get 400 overheal. Wow, amazing! And you can use it as a med kit, which makes it less useless. It's not completely useless anymore, I guess is what I'm trying to say, which is awesome. And also for the multi-class items, the panic attack has been changed. It's still not that great. I mean, it shoots and reloads faster. And oh wait, I didn't get it. Wow, 50% speed. That might be good just to have. Who knows? So yeah, I'm really hyped for this update. You're gonna get some new maps, some new skins. You're gonna get the CS:GO and TF2. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, is gonna be a good update and TF2 doesn't become Counter Strike completely. All right, thanks. See you in the next video.